Again, it's always helpful at the beginning of any formal period of meditation to take a moment to consider how we feel. What's the body like right now? Hot or cold? Heavy or light? Comfortable, uncomfortable? How is it? Bringing attention to the physical realm. How does it feel, this body of ours? What's the material that we're working with? Not to judge it as right or wrong, good or bad, but simply to appreciate, to acknowledge, right now, it's exactly like this. This is the way it is. And the mood of the mind. You feel energetic or sleepy, inspired or depressed, irritated, somewhere in between. Do we feel anxious, peaceful? What mood is that? What's the tone of feeling, mood, here in the mental world? How is it? Again, not to judge as good or bad, or wanted or unwanted, but to assess, to open the attention to what is present, what we're working with, where we're starting from. And from that basis of attuning the attention to this present experience, body and mind, nama and rupa, then there's a conscious intention to guide things towards a balance of energy and relaxation, wakefulness and peacefulness. So establishing the posture of the body, the spine stretching to its full, comfortable, natural limit, not tense or rigid, but holding the body upright, encouraging the quality of alertness. And then around that central column, that axis of our physical being, to invite, to allow the rest of the body to relax completely. Completely settled, free of tension, fully at ease, fully alert. Always center the attention on the present reality, the experience of this present moment. So to help sustain that quality of attention on the present, and to begin with, we take a reference point, a meditation object. We can use the breath, as I was speaking of yesterday. All kinds of different objects are possible. The breath, however, is the most accessible and most usable for most people. And following the rhythm of the breath, just as the body inhales and exhales according to its own natural rhythm, let that cluster of feelings, that constellation of feelings, the in-breath and the out-breath, let that be at the very center of attention, like at the very heart of a mandala. This is not because there's something special or sacred about the breath or unique, but rather just a convenient flag to mark the present reality. That's all. That's what its purpose is. Like a flag on a golf course shows you where the hole is that you're aiming for. So too, the breath is like a flag to aim the attention at, to be a central point. Like an anchor, helping a boat to be secure in the water, not blown around by the wind or the currents or the tides. And bring the attention then to the breathing. Let that be the very center of our world, to help stabilize, strengthen the attention on this present moment, the Paccuppanna Dhamma, this present reality. When we bring the attention to a single point, like the sensations of the breath, there's a deliberate excluding of all of the other perceptions, thoughts, feelings, sensations that might be arising. There's a deliberate editing those out to focus just on the one single point, the one spot. So Ajahn Sumedho would call this the point which excludes. So when we speak of samadhi, usually it's referring to this quality of one-pointedness and the deliberate exclusion of other experiences, other patterns of perception and feeling. But samadhi on its own, concentration, does not liberate the heart. It's peaceful, it's wholesome, but it's not intrinsically liberating. Experiences, perceptions come along and disturb it. A loud sound or a painful memory or an exciting prospect of the future. Something attractive to see or ugly. Something frightening. Something irritating. So concentration itself is not a genuine refuge. It's not an embodiment of freedom. It's not an embodiment of, say, security. It's not an embodiment of reality. It's a pleasant abiding, as the Buddha would say, a peaceful abiding. So to develop the quality of wisdom, a genuine security, genuine freedom, then we need to develop another dimension of the meditation. But what we call vipassana or insight meditation is exactly this development of wisdom. Letting go of particular objects of experience to be attentive to and to be understanding of the process of experiencing itself. So we let go of the content of experience to look at the process of experience. So once the attention is fairly steady, stable in the present moment, not jumping off to an imagined future, a remembered past, or getting caught up in opinions and ideas. Once the attention is resting steadily with the present reality, then we can expand the area of attention. What Ajahn Sumedho would call the point which includes. So we expand the area of attention to include the whole field of experience. Other sensations of the body, the sounds we hear around us, different thoughts or ideas that arise. It's like all of us gather together in this room, 40 or so people gather in the space of the room. We gather, sit down, carry out the meditation, get up, walk out. So too in the space of our mind, there can be different thoughts or perceptions, memories, ideas, feelings, sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. They come in, move around for a bit, then they move out. So to establish this point which includes, is opening the scope of awareness, it's like an open-hearted awareness, attentive to the present, but including all the objects, perceptions, feelings that arise, take shape, and dissolve. So we can call this an open awareness, or a concentration on the process of experience. Or we can speak of it as insight, because in this process one is letting go of the content of a perception, rather than, is it a thought, is it inside, is it a sound outside? It's just being seen as a pattern of perception, that's all. Changing, unsatisfactory, not who and what we are, not self. There's no value or substance being given to it. It's just an empty formation, arising, taking shape, dissolving. Every thought, every sensation in the body, every emotion, every sound, visual forms, whatever it might be, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, all of those different patterns arise within the space of the awareness. They arise, take shape, dissolve, just like people walking into the room, being here, and walking out. The space of the room is not disturbed or decorated, embellished by that arriving and departing. The space is just a space. It receives. It lets go. So when your attention is stable, steady in the present, then there's no need to fix the attention on the breath as a specific object, but to open the awareness to include the whole flow of perception, feeling, sensation, thinking. Now, the tendency is for the mind to get caught on, I don't like this sensation, or that's an interesting thought, that's an important plan, it's a painful memory. I like that sound, I don't like that sound. It gives value, meaning to particular perceptions. So we use the ongoing application of the reflections on anicca, dukkha, anatta, uncertainty, unsatisfactoriness, not self, as a way of training the mind not to give meaning or value, substance, to those empty, changing perceptions. So rather than, is it inside or is it outside? Is it changing? Rather than, is it beautiful or ugly? Is it changing? Rather than, is it mine or yours? Is it changing? Rather than, is it wholesome or unwholesome? Is it changing? So these reflections are ways of, say, changing the habits of mind, changing the habits of how the mind gives value, substance, meaning to emotions, memories, ideas, moods, feelings, perceptions. This way of consideration helps them to be seen as they are, empty, void of substance. There's a shape, but no core, no heart, no essence. Just a thought, just a sound, just a memory, just a feeling. That's all. So in this way, developing this quality of openness of heart, spacious, open awareness, And whatever arises within that, we use these reflections. Anicca, it's changing, uncertain. Dukkha, is it satisfactory? Is this something that can be permanently pleasing? Anatta, is this a self? Does it belong to a self? If it's mine, what's this me that is the owner? What does that look like? All these aspects of what we call a person, me, my life, my feelings, they're seen to arise, take shape and dissolve. But that which knows the person isn't a person. That awareness, that awake knowing quality is not personal. It's not female or male, not old or young, not Indian or English or American. It's awake. It knows. That's all. It's not personal. That which knows the person isn't a person. In its essence, the mind, the heart, isn't a person. It's a quality of wakeful awareness, it knows, but it's not an identity, not me or mine. It's a quality of nature. If we try to open the awareness in this way and simply receive the flow of perceptions, feelings, sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, memory, ideas. And then after a few moments, the attention gets snagged, caught up by a memory, a thought, a sensation, and gets lost in it. Well, notice that. Use those reflections to examine it. How much a particular memory feels like mine. I remember. This is my memory that happened to me. And explore it. Use this capacity of wise reflection to examine. When we talk about the reflections on anicca, dukkha, anatta, it's not like a mantra, anicca, 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 anatta, anatta, anatta. It's rather a genuine exploring, like you're using a screwdriver to get a tightly fitted screw to loosen, to be removed. You kind of carefully line up the screwdriver with the head, and you have to lean on it in a certain way and apply pressure and twisting in the right fashion to get it to move. It's a working. It's a tailor-made attending to that particular experience. So if a memory comes up or a responsibility, I've got to, next week I must, I have to. Who's this I that has to do? Who's this me that is responsible? What shape is that? Is it female or male? This I that is the experiencer, I that is the meditator. Does it have a shape? What does it look like? This me-ness, this I-ness seems so real, but what's there? There's this feeling of I-ness, ahankara, mine-ness, mamankara. But that too arises, takes shape, dissolves. So we're using these reflections on anicca, dukkha, anatta to challenge the habits of self, of permanence, of seeking satisfaction in the conditioned. We have a powerful insight or a beautiful mind state. Oh, this is great. This is lovely. The mind takes refuge in that feeling of satisfaction. So we reflect upon dukkha. Can this feeling stay here forever? Can it really be owned? Is this something that can permanently please? Is it? Is that so? Is that a sure thing? So we use these patterns of reflection to explore the habits of experience, to examine how the mind looks for permanence, looks for self, looks for satisfaction in that which is impermanent, not self, which can't satisfy. Or when we apply that kind of examination, that kind of exploration, it awakens the intuition of the heart. Oh, of course it can't satisfy. Oh, look, there isn't really a me that is the owner. That feeling of owning arises and passes away. Just like the sound of a bird, a fan, a car passing in the street. It's just that, an empty formation. Oh. And in that oh moment, look and see. In that moment, the wisdom of the heart, that quality of satipanya, it recognizes there never really was a self. There was never any solidity, no real thing there. It just seemed that way. Oh. And in that moment of letting go, of disentangling, look, what's here? There's spaciousness, peacefulness, simplicity. No sense of self. The mind is awake. Bright. At ease. Notice that. This is the experience of the heart, the mind, free of clinging, free of identification. Even if that only lasts for half a second, quarter of a second, notice that. When the clinging stops, when the identification stops, how is it? What's here? A quality of purity, simplicity, a quiet normality. Nothing to be gained, nothing to be got rid of. No person to own anything. Attend to that. Notice that. Let the natural beauty of that speak for itself. Nibbana is the reality of non-grasping. That's how Luang Por Chah would define that. When the grasping stops, what remains is peace. A momentary realization of Nibbana. Nibbana is the reality of non-grasping. If you find that your mind is way too agitated and restless, jumping around all over the place, and the idea of trying to attend to the present without a fixed object is impossible, won't even stay here for a second, then simply sustain the attention on the breathing. Your boat is being thrown around in the water, blown by the winds, pulled by the tides. Then we need an anchor. If your boat is already safely up on the beach, it doesn't need an anchor. It's quite secure, stable where it is. So each one of us has to notice for ourselves, discern for ourselves, what do we need in this moment? If there's a need for more stability, more fixity, then use an anchor. Take that kind of reference point and apply it. If we need to focus on the breath, bring the attention to the present, absolutely fine. Bring the attention there. If we find that the attention stabilizes after a few hours, another day, great. Then no need to focus so firmly on the breathing. Each one of us needs to be discerning, attentive, see what we need in any one moment. Or it might be that it's quite easy, quite comfortable, just letting go of the breath and attending to the present, and then after 5 or 10 minutes, then the mind starts to slide off, or fall asleep, and you realize, well, I was attending to the present, I didn't need the breath, but now the system has shifted. I'm falling asleep. I need to bring more energy in, need to rouse more of a quality of focus, alertness. Each one of us needs to be attentive, just like driving a car. What's the rest of the traffic doing? What's up ahead? Is there a light? Is there a junction? Is the traffic moving? Is it stopped? What's happening? We adjust our own movements according to the way the rest of the road is working, where we want to get to, the limits of our vehicle. Guiding the mind is exactly the same. We need to pay attention, adjust, go faster, go slow, be ready to stop or to turn, left or right, according to what's needed. I think Indian roads are particularly good for requiring careful attention, since you can never be sure what's going to happen next. Our mind is just the same. We need to pay attention. It's not just a matter of applying one formula and then letting it run by itself. We need to attend. Keep focused on what's happening. Be attuned to the time, the place, the situation, how things are going, and then from that attunement, let the adjustments occur. Go forward steadily, stop, go left, go right, brighten the mind, bring more energy in, calm it down, less energy. It's up to each one of us to notice, to attune, and to then let those adjustments, those adaptations to each moment take place guided by mindfulness and wisdom. It's up to each one of us. It's not an external authority who tells us, do this, don't do that. It can't be right all the time. Every driver of every vehicle has to pay attention. That way we can progress, we can get where we need to go. So we have a period of walking meditation now, as yesterday, and I would encourage the same kind of focus of the meditation, so that you can use the footsteps as you walk along the ground as, say, an initial way of gathering the attention and bringing the attention to the present. But as and when you find that you can have, stay focused, and the mind isn't sort of wandering or distracted too much, then to similarly let the area of attention to expand, to say not just be trying to concentrate just on the feeling of the feet, but to be attentive to the whole movement of the body and the changing perceptions. Of course, as we're walking, our eyes are open, and so there's a lot more change in the visual field, but in exactly the same way, just to be relating to the visual forms and the changing physical sensations with that same kind of open objectivity, just letting that flow of perceptions arise, take shape within the mind. And when the attention latches onto a particular thought or a perception, I like this, I don't like that, it should be this way, it shouldn't be that way, just to be applying these reflections on, well, who is it that's making that judgment, or who likes this, or who doesn't like this, or who is it that's walking? Who is it that's meditating? This is whether I like it or not. Is it changing? Yes, it is. And then, as we apply those reflections on anicca, dukkha, anatta to that more complex flow of perceptions, again, the most important thing is seeing what the result of that is. It's not just applying the method. It's not just like how you cook the food. It's in what the food tastes like afterwards, and so you being nourished by the food. That's the point of following the recipe, is being nourished, right? That's what food is for. So, and similarly, with meditation, it's not just a matter of following the method correctly or doing things. It's like, what's the method for? What's the meditation for? What's the purpose of it? And so, when there is that moment of, oh yes, there's the experience of feeling, seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, arising, passing away. Oh, it's just this. This is anicca. It's in a state of change. It's not something that has an owner. It's not me and mine. It's known here. It's felt here. And then in that moment of letting go of, as it were, disentangling the attention from the perceptions, notice what that's like. Notice that quality in the heart when there is that freedom from grasping, freedom from identification. And again, even if it's just half a second, just notice how that is when there's walking, but it's not me that's walking, it's just the perception of walking. Seeing, it's not me who's seeing or me who's thinking, but rather, there's a thought, there's a sight, there's an object. And what a difference that makes when the view or the attitude changes. So again, we can ring the bell at 10 and then gather back here after that.